real far ahead. So, it looks like, just as a little update, Unlucker and Potwasher have played their first match. It was a Shadowcraft mirror, and Potwasher took that first win. So we're going to be heading into Game 2 of this particular match between the two players. Potwasher's Shadowcraft deck, I would assume, is out because he won supposedly with it. So it's going to be Potwasher's alternate deck, which, as we see, can actually be very interesting in today's meta. I wonder if everybody's just really embracing Sword, if everybody's convinced that, oh my god, Sword is now the card to run against Dragon. Because seemingly Sword doesn't have a good matchup against Shadow, right? It has to be against Dragon if it's against the alternate deck. So we'll see. Again, we're in the library. Oh, and it is Sword.
Sword for Potwasher and Shadow for Unlucker.
That is a quick adaptation. You know, just 1 week it hits, and the next week everybody's just there was no fade into seeing Sword.
Yeah. We saw it, I think, like a few times in the first 2 weeks.
Yeah. Mana Surge was actually convinced. There was a lot of players from Mana Surge that they were convinced Swordcraft was the card to run. Noah reaped the benefits of that, and now it seems like Noah's about to do it again, but people maybe are cashing on.
Yeah, setting the trends.
M. Besson, of course, that means Shadowcraft again for Unlucker on the bottom here. Let's see if Potwasher can navigate this matchup here. Swordcraft going first.
Interesting that we see Phantom Howl. That's typically a card that we haven't seen in many mid-range Shadow decks.
Certainly, players have been taking less and less of Phantom Howl.
But it has got great synergy with Cerberus. When you've got the Coco and Mimi in hand, and you can Phantom Howl doing tons of damage, especially if you've got an Evolve Orb as well.
Just talking about the value of Shadowcraft cards being... The worth is in the number of followers you have on board rather than the actual quality of the statistics of the followers, which of course matters, but really it's super important to just have a bunch of stuff. Phantom Howl can achieve that. Of course, as you mentioned, the Cerberus combo very important for that as well.
Potwasher getting Grimnir on the field at turn 3. He could have Hold Soul Swing and gotten the Sergeant out of the field. That would have cleared the board, but I think having the 3 defensive ward is going to be very great for Potwasher.
I mean, it basically eliminated any kind of aggressive move from Unlucker for that turn, right? He didn't want to... It was an inefficient trade into the ward, and so he wasn't willing to spend his Sergeant on that. And now there's still value coming out of the Whole Soul Swing. And so he's essentially kind of caught up that turn. He's floating 2 play points here. Does he spend the other Whole Soul Swing? You know... It's always dangerous. Obviously, we know that there's double Shadow Reaper waiting in the sidelines, and that is the true terror. Double Shadow Reaper, if you throw one of your skeletons in there, you're getting 2 damage for a 1/1 card. And so it's actually to your benefit to just keep throwing these skeletons in.
Definitely some whole value. He's going to clear off the Grimnir and be able to trade one of the skeletons into the Knight, giving both Reapers 2/2.
And what's difficult here is you don't have AoE board clear, so those Reapers are likely just going to live through that ambush phase, and in the next turn you can trade as necessary. Now, Phantom Howl won't help you in that scenario because they get banished.
Right.
Oh,
yeah, for all the clear in Swordcraft, we see Tsubaki and Dance of Death in this deck instead of an AoE board clear like Cyclone Blade. I think Potwasher's deck is definitely geared towards Dragon. Being able to get rid of 1 strong follower as opposed to a large number of smaller ones.
5 play point Cerberus. I think this situation is really interesting. There's the only Tsubaki target right now is Cerberus itself. And the Shadow Reapers are at a pretty healthy value of health and damage.
Yeah, they're definitely paying for the weight in gold in this game.
There's Tsubaki, and then Dance of Death, one of the Shadow Reapers, I would assume, when you get the opportunity to, because these things are just getting buffed up right now. Gonna opt to eliminate the ambush here.
Yeah, leaving the Tsubaki with 1 health. Great trade there.
But still a 5/5 Shadow Reaper, and that's just the strength of being able to play them double Shadow Reaper on turn 4. Consistently such a strong play.
He's got Death's Breath and Ector in his hand. I think he's going to try to get as many followers on his side of the board as he can to make that huge value Ector play.
He certainly has the cards in hand, right? Some combination of Lyrial Sergeant and then Coco and Mimi. He's going to opt to use Phantom Howl, and that's going to be very efficient trading here. He could reach real far Evolve plus the Coco.
Yeah.
I think it might be done. There it is. Shadow Reaper evolved up gives so much reach. We were just talking about the value of having Phantom Howl in combination with Cerberus, and that huge pump up on the Shadow Reaper is actually so valuable. And hey, there you have it. Again, we see a situation where Swordcraft versus Shadowcraft is not too comfortable. The big key to watch out for is how will Swordcraft match up against the Unlucker second deck, which, based on trends, might be a Swordcraft mirror. It might just be a Swordcraft mirror.
It could be. We saw, I mentioned the Dance of Death and the Tsubaki, definitely not geared towards destroying Shadowcraft. It could be that he knew that if I get in a matchup against Shadow, I'm probably going to lose. But when I lose, then I can use a Swordcraft deck again against a matchup that it's more strong against.
Tough situation. Shadow Reaper is such an interesting card in the meta right now just because there's so little AoE clear. I really think it should be something intentionally teched for in these scenarios because, okay, so it is going to be Dragoncraft again, so we're going to see basically the same matchup as in the previous match between Lux and Noah.
We'll see if Unlucker has a similar composition in his Swordcraft deck, whereas Potwasher getting a really great curve here. He's going first, so he's got the Taji on his turn, and then a Lancer, and then a Novice Trooper on the following turns. And there's some clear in the hand of Unlucker. He's got to waste the Blazing Breath on the Taji there. But Potwasher is just going to be continually filling up his board.
2/2 ward comes down.
The sky's my destination.
And having to play Zell on tempo, not ideal, especially when you have all those evolution orbs that you can spend. The interesting thing to think about is you have 3 Zells in your deck and you have 3 orbs at most, unless you have Dark Angel Olivia. Every Zell you spend, so now he's probably only going to have 2 Zells in deck. That means there's 1 evolution orb that's going to be unaccounted for. Of course, you're not always going to get into a situation where you just Zell every single one of your evolution orbs, but still, in terms of potential damage output, it is definitely a loss to have to throw in a card like that.
Yeah, typically we see the Dragoncraft using the orbs in the early game, maybe 1 or 2 of them, and saving the last orb for a Zell combo. Gaining tempo in those early points of the game is absolutely crucial. He's going to use one of the orbs on Grimney here just to get rid of the Trooper.
Super awkward start for Unlucker. Turn 4 at 4 play points, and you're already losing a little bit of health here. This is an important turn for Potwasher to really take control of this match and fight against Sybil that's going to be coming down.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of healing, especially paired with the Draconic Fervor.
And the question is, which do you play, right? Do you play the Sybil or the Fervor? The Fervor is going to give you the instant healing. Sybil is going to give you a little bit of the board control, but then healing only comes after a turn later because there's no ramp. So it's going to be Sybil.
And Draconic Fervor gives you the draw as well.
And so because the Evolve doesn't really happen on this turn, there is potential for a lot of damage to face. It just depends on how confident Potwasher is playing out that scenario if he doesn't remove Sybil.
And there's an Albert and a Taji in the hand of Potwasher. That's going to be 6 damage to face just with those 2 cards alone, plus the Knight and the Steelclad Knight on his turn already. Although the attack points of the Knight and the Steelclad Knight are 3. Perfect amount to just take out that Sybil right there.
The big healing turn coming up for Unlucker as well if the Sybil survives, because the Sybil will proc and the Draconic Fervor as well will heal. That'll push him up to 8 play points on Unlucker's next turn after that, which can activate Ouroboros.
Absolutely. We'll see what Potwasher decides to do. It's going to be the Albert.
I think after some deliberation, seems like clearing the board and then swinging Albert, preventing any of that healing from happening. And so this puts actually Unlucker in an awkward situation because he still is probably going to have a skip turn, right? You're at 7 play points. What is your draw here is really important. It's going to be Isla, not what you want to see. Probably going to try to evolve that or something. He plays Draconic Fervor instead. And a Dragon Oracle, so now you're up to 10, but you're about to take damage. If there's another Storm card pulled here, it could go real bad.
So you've got Zeus next turn. You've got Zeus next turn, but you've got to think that maybe Potwasher has Tsubaki in the hand, and that would spell his death.
If you play Mage and evolve Knight, you could get a little bit of extra reach.
My sword brings hope.
And it looks like that's going to be the choice.
Shining Paladins, attack!
Potwasher gaining a lot of pressure in this match.
down to 4. Ryu put in a tough spot. Oh, Israfil? It won't clear out the mage.
Right, he's got his last Evolve Orb left.
I mean, Blazing Breath is not much different.
And he'd be able to heal for 4 with the Israfil as well. He'd be back up to 8 health.
If you play the Blazing Breath, you have 4 more play points to utilize, but that really only translates into Ayla. Grimner for 4 will take down the Knight, but won't, unless you evolve it, won't handle the Albert. And it probably has to be that.
Yeah, that would effectively clear the entire board, and he's going to go with the Israfil, but there's not many cards in the hand of Potwasher. He's got Whole Souled Swing and Lyrial Archer. And at that, he doesn't have any evolve points to use on the Lyrial Archer.
Gonna swing into Albert, leave Israfil at 5. But it should do handily.
So this is the end.
Now the only danger here is you've left the mage up. If it's Albert, it's gonna be Novice Trooper. Because he gets a free evolve, if he got something like Albert, it could be real dangerous at times. Of course, 1 point down from the enhanced,
right?
Which would have ended.
He's going to be able to get the Knight on his turn if he trades into the Israfil here and then Whole Souled Swings as the next move.
Is that the plan?
It might be, and there's more healing in the hand of Unlucker. He's got Draconic Fervor and Ouroboros.
I like this choice from Potwasher because you are definitely threatening lethal. There's so many opportunities for Storm from Swordcraft to do 2.
Right.
And so Unlucker has no choice but to clear. Gonna heal a little bit, gets the Zell. And so this gamble is coming to a close real quick.
Getting a ward as well. With 5 health, he's, even with no Evolve Orb, he's still...
Oh, man.
That's gotta hurt.
Yep.
It's
we'll
gonna
be
be
able to remove, but there's no Evolution Orb. And so Tsubaki, there's still Storm from Zeus. He needs to remove with...
Oh, man.
There's no ping.
Oh, no.
So Zeus combined with Grimner is going to be able to close it out.
Yep. Man, Unlucker. The sword deck from Potwasher definitely not able.
Wasn't quite there. It wasn't quite there. And I think that just barely making out of that situation was really tough. Leaving the Israfil up was such a gamble, right?
Yeah.
10 damage because you don't even have to swing at the target you remove. And so having that follower up in terms of board clear was an easy choice, right?
Right. Each time Israfil attacks, it does 2 damage to all enemies.
And so you just target the leader. You get that 10 damage on the leader.
And that was able to
plus
take out the
2
Novice
damage
Fencer.
that takes out the Novice Trooper, and so Israfil coming in